I, 27F, blacked out last week and attacked my boyfriend, 29M, and I don't know what to do. Hi all. This is going to be a long one, and I want to preface everything by saying I take full accountability for what happened. I know what I did was a terrible thing, and I'm just looking for advice on how to move forward or input from anyone that has a similar experience. Tom and I have been dating for 9 months, and it has been the most amazing relationship I've ever had. He is kind, funny, intelligent, and an incredible partner to me. We both have said that this is the happiest relationship either of us have ever had and felt that it's something we want to continue with for the long run. There's a lot to this story, and it begins around May when we started arguing a lot. When things would cool down, we'd talk things through, and I admitted that I felt like I was being excessively angry or irrational. Soon after, we found out I was pregnant. We both agreed we weren't ready and that I would have an abortion. I was about 8 weeks along and my body had already gone through a lot of changes and I felt f***ing crazy all the time. We both agreed that perhaps we'd been fighting so much because I was extremely hormonal. Things got better after we knew I was pregnant, but I started feeling really sad about the upcoming abortion. I expressed to him that I really wanted to be a mom someday, so I felt really guilty and sad, but I knew this was something I had to do. He was very supportive every step of the way, and even though he didn't want the baby, he never diminished my feelings of guilt or sadness. I had the abortion in late June and things were really great after that. Everything went back to normal, and we were very intimate all the time. However, I was still feeling really sad about the abortion. I told him this, but didn't tell him just how depressed I was because I didn't want to make him feel bad. About 2 weeks after the abortion, we were having a lot of sex and on 2 occasions, he finished in me. I know, it was really f***ing stupid. This is important to note for later. And we both naively thought I couldn't get pregnant because I had just had the abortion. Anyway, my feelings of remorse were getting worse and I started drinking to cope, a lot. Around 3 weeks ago, Tom and I started arguing almost every other day. It was never about anything specific. Small things would just seemingly turn into screaming matches. Things got really bad last week, and we started discussing if we should stay in this relationship anymore. I suggested speaking to a counselor to see if they could teach us better methods of communicating when we're upset, and Tom immediately said yes because he really wanted this to work, and when things are good, this is the best relationship I've ever had. After we agreed to see a counselor, it felt like a weight was lifted. Things still felt raw, but there was an obvious improvement. Well, this past Thursday, things went to shit. We were busy redecorating his place because his dad is coming into town on Monday, and he wanted the place to look nice. I was helping him clean, organize, and hang posters while he and a friend went out to pick up a new couch. While all that was going on, I went out to buy a 6-pack of beer to just chill while I did my thing at his apartment. Earlier that day, I took half a pill of phentermine, an appetite suppressant, because I've been struggling to lose weight. Mixing it with the alcohol was not a good decision. I ended up drinking all the beer and blacked out. The last thing I remember was Tom and his friend bringing in the new couch, and then I must have passed out on the bed. Tom let me be as he had to do some work. A couple hours later, he tried to wake me up, as we were supposed to go out on a date. This is where I remember nothing. He said I just started saying, "You're not even trying," and he was confused. Apparently, I just kept saying it over and over again as he tried to get me to get out of bed, and it led to a screaming match. He said this is when I threw my phone at him and started attacking him. I hit, scratched, and bit him as he tried to restrain me. It got so bad that he had to call the police. I can kind of remember scrambling to grab my things and rushing out of his apartment. This was all around 11 p.m. I don't remember driving to my sister's house, but I woke up around 4 a.m. and had no idea where I was. I looked at my phone and tried calling Tom. He wouldn't answer at all. I started panicking because I had no clue what happened, so I stupidly drove over to his place and tried getting him to answer the door. I kept telling him that I just wanted to talk because I didn't know what happened. He didn't answer the phone or the door at all. I was there for about 15 minutes and just decided to leave. As I pulled out the garage, there was a cop car about to pull in, so I'm assuming he called them to let them know I was back. The next day was excruciating. He had a flight at 9 a.m., and I tried calling him around 8 a.m., and he still wouldn't answer. He finally texted me back and told me what I did. I was in complete shock. I've never done anything like this. I begged him to just talk to me, but he told me he was done and needed to be left alone. I just ended up sending him a few messages saying how terribly sorry I was and that I would do anything to try to fix this. He just told me to give him space this weekend. That day, I made an emergency appointment with my psychiatrist for an evaluation. She told me that self-medicating with alcohol was only making my depression worse and that mixing the phentermine with alcohol was probably why I blacked out. She put me back on antidepressants as well as an antipsychotic for my OCD and told me I need to quit drinking. A few hours later, I went to an AA meeting for the first time. I had to admit to myself that I had a serious problem. It was extremely difficult to do, but I decided I never wanted to touch alcohol again. After all this, I've been talking with friends and my sister, and I told them everything I did. They were all completely shocked because I've never done anything like this before. Everyone told me I need to quit drinking and just give Tom some space. All I could do was wait. Well, last night, I started feeling exactly how I did when I had the abortion in June. Excruciating back pain, fever, sweats, nausea. I bled through 3 pads in just 2 hours. Every time I went to the bathroom, there were blood clots. So, this morning, I bought a few pregnancy tests. 2 were positive with a very faint line on the positive part, and 1 was invalid. If you don't already know, pregnancy tests pick up the hormone HCG. HCG is still present for a little while after an abortion/miscarriage. So it all made sense. I was self-medicating with alcohol from the first abortion, which only made me more depressed. And things were getting worse about 2 weeks ago because I got pregnant. I sent Tom a long text explaining I knew he wanted space, but I felt it was important for him to know I miscarried. We finally talked on the phone, and he said he was sorry I had to go through this alone and that he wished he could be there for me. However, he's traumatized from what I did. He's been having nightmares and wants to see a therapist to deal with the trauma. He said he's afraid of me and doesn't know if he'll be ready to see me on Tuesday when his dad leaves town. All I could do was apologize and let him know the steps I've taken. I told him I take full responsibility and swore that I'd do anything to fix this. He just kept saying he doesn't know and that he needs space. We ended the call by saying this is just going to take some time, but that he doesn't know if he could take me back. And who could possibly blame him? I know I'm not the victim here. What I did was absolutely heinous, and I'm so ashamed and disappointed with myself. I haven't eaten in 3 days and have lost 5 pounds. I am falling apart at the idea of him leaving me for good. He said he'll always love me, but he just doesn't know. I know I need to give him space for now. I'm back on my meds, and I'm going to continue going to AA meetings. But is there anything else I can do? He's the most beautiful person in the world, inside and out, and I don't know how I'll be able to live with myself if this is how it ends. Thanks for reading this far if you have. I'm open to any input or advice.